Yo, what's going on, your boy Ghost here. Today I'm going to bring you guys another comparison video between the Cold MP5 and CX-9. And to be honest, I wasn't really expecting to make this video at this current moment because, I was expecting Season 5 to be out. And, today's video would have been a Season 5 video. But sadly, it got delayed an extra day. And so we're going to have to wait a little bit more for that. But I guess I'm going to take this time to shed some light on the Cold MP5 and the CX-9 for the upcoming season. Hopefully nothing too crazy happens to these weapons, or if anything happens to these weapons, and they're allowed to shine in this upcoming season. Because, with the new season, you already know, changes do tend to happen. But anyways, before we get into the comparison, I want to say if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're like about 180 away from 2,000, so if you help a brother out, that'd be greatly appreciated. We're obviously on the road to 2K, so let's make that happen as soon as possible. I know you guys can help me do that. And also, if you could do me a favor of following me over on my Twitch channel, we're going to be going crazy with this new season over there on Twitch, so always get underscore if you guys want to see me live streaming right now. And then, yeah, man, with that being said, let's get into these comparisons. And then we have the recoil pattern for the Cold MP5. And before we actually get into the comparison, a little disclaimer: the clips that you're about to see of the Cold MP5, I'm going to probably put no audio on them because for some reason, I don't know what the heck's wrong with my PS4. All the clips that I have recorded on the day of me using the Cold MP5, all of them, just like, bro, they all came out so bad. Like, there's a lot of skipping in them, as you can see in this clip right here. There's a lot of delay in them, and there's a little bit of lag in them. Like, bro, I don't know what prompted this to happen. I don't know how I can fix it. Hopefully, this is not a problem going forward. But man, this is it's just a very frustrating thing to deal with. But anyways, the Cold MP5 is one of those weapons, bro, that like I feel like has never really been given an opportunity to shine in Warzone. It had kind of like a little, I would say, time where it was somewhat meta, where people were considering it to be the best SMG, people were using it, but overall ever since it's been out, like, it's always had the potential to be great, but many of us just hasn't really given an opportunity, whether it's the recoil, whether it's like the awkward mobility on it, which I still to this day don't really understand that argument. But yeah, now I decided to pull it out in this current state of Warzone, and I mean right now I guess it's considered to be one of the better SMGs. Still though, a lot of people not favor this weapon in comparison to like the Bullfrog, PPSH, or MAC-10. People still kind of tend to sleep on it, which is, I don't know if this gun quite deserves it, because this weapon, bro, is really good. And actually, to me, in my opinion, shares a lot of similarities to the CX-9, and which we'll get into in a little bit. But both of these weapons, in my opinion, are very solid. And for this upcoming season, bro, they could be next up. Now, for some of you guys, the CX-9 might be a little, some of you guys might be skeptical in saying that CX-9 is next up, considering what it actually does. But I mean, look, I think the CX-9 is a pretty decent weapon. If you're using a MAC-10, the CX-9 could definitely fit in the meta somehow. So I have no worries for the CX-9 being able to fit in any meta or any time period. And with the new season coming out again, some weapons might be getting knocked down. So with weapons getting knocked down, others are going to be able to rise up. And I think the Cold MP5 is kind of like a lock, unless for some reason they decide to nerf it. Which would kind of suck, because I feel like it got kind of hit heavy in the mid-season update. So for it to get hit again in this next upcoming update is kind of, I would feel like, just pointless. Because I don't feel like this weapon is used that much, and it's not too crazy. Like, yeah, the damage is great, but aside from that, like, I feel like it doesn't excel overwhelmingly over other SMGs in other categories like range, reload control, even fire rate. The fire rate is pretty good, but we have CX-9 and MAC-10s running around with 1,000 RPMs. Like, I don't really think this Cold MP5 is too much of a threat. It's a really good SMG though, definitely a top 3 candidate. And for me personally, I've been having a lot of fun using it. And I don't know, moving forward, this might be my SMG #1. But the new season drops in a few hours, so anything can happen with those patch notes. Like, a weapon might get tuned to the point where it's really good, or the new SMG might turn out to be insanely overpowered. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. And yeah, with that being said, let's get into the CX-9/stats. And then we have the recoil pattern for the CX-9. And as you guys can see, it's actually really similar to the Cold MP5. And if you added 10 more bullets to the base CX-9, this gun's recoil pattern would probably be identical to the Cold MP5's. But anyways, even with that, they still differ in range, with one being not the greatest at range and the other one being really solid at range. Because the CX-9, low recoil, very easy to control. The Cold MP5, the complete opposite. And I don't know, it's kind of strange considering their recoil pattern. But to start things off, I want to apologize because I still haven't maxed out the CX-9. I mean, considering what occurred in the last few days in the situation, I wasn't really able to, but the fact that I haven't done it yet, even with that double weapon XP, was pretty bad. But you know, I did end up changing my class setup a little bit, as you guys saw. I ended up changing my rear grip, and that rear grip actually ended up completely changing the whole game for me when it came to using the CX-9. It allowed for my ADS to be a lot quicker, and it made the weapon a lot more usable. And we'll talk a little bit more about that significance in a little bit, because the first that I want to talk about is the fire rate, with the Cold MP5's fire rate being at 854 RPM, and the CX-9's 1036 RPM. And to be honest, the Cold MP5's fire rate seems to be really fast, but it's really not that much faster than, say, something like a Bullfrog, which is insane, considering the fact that I feel like the Cold MP5 and CX-9 both share the characteristic of running out of ammo quickly. Both of them share a 50-round mag, and yet I feel like that's not enough for both of them because they run out of ammo quickly. With the Cold MP5, and when it like, it takes me, I would say 20 bullets to fully, maybe even more probably, 20 bullets to like 20 plus bullets to kill and end someone, and that kind of leaves me at a disadvantage if I'm fighting multiple people. I mean, if I like hold my trigger finger and, you know, just down someone and not just go right away for the end, you know, I'll be able to do it. Same with the CX-9, but you know, I have that, like many of us, we have that habit of just going for the straight thirst. Now, you know, it's a very toxic trait, but we do it anyway. And what's it called? Both of them suffer from just losing ammo very quickly, which is crazy because, like, a MAC-10, for example, has a fast fire to both of them, and I feel like I don't share the same problem, or at least for me. Many of you guys probably do, but for me personally, I don't feel like I have that problem. But anyways, moving on to the damage, which for the CX-9 we have, for 0-13 meters, we have 34 damage to the head, 24 damage to the chest and stomach, and then 21 to the extremities, which are the limbs. And then for the Cold MP5's 0-9 meters, we have 44 damage to the head, 31 to the chest and stomach, and then 27 to the extremities. So there's obviously a clear damage difference in close range. And in this situation, I would say that the Cold MP5 is obviously at an advantage in close range, but the CX-9 is definitely able to compete, especially if you're able to draw your gun quick enough to be able to gun this Cold MP5. And the Cold MP5 is a really good, powerful weapon at close range. But what it used to be, I mean, look, that 44 damage to the head, bro. I remember at the Cold MP5 before the mid-season update, it used to have a 50 damage to the head. That's when this gun was truly, like, at its top, its prime. But now it's, you know, obviously fell off with the whole nerfs and whatnot. But it's still a really solid weapon. But it's definitely a lot more challengeable than it used to be, and it allows for more weapons like the CX-9 that has lower damage to be able to have an opportunity to gun it. But with both of these weapons, I will say that what it's going to come down to is being able to hit your shots, because if you start missing your shots with these two weapons, which is actually very easy, like very possible to do, especially at close range, you got to be careful, because you will get punished if you're not on your A game. But moving on to the whole range game, which again isn't too significant considering that the Cold MP5's range game is non-existent simply because of the fact that it has a lot of recoil and not the easiest to control. But for 13 to 22 meters for the CX-9, you have 30 damage to the head, 21 to both the chest and stomach, and then 18 to the extremities. And then for 22 meters and above, we have 26 damage to the head, 19 to the chest and stomach, and then 17 to the extremities. Whereas the Cold MP5 for 9 meters and above, we have 34 to the head, 24 to the chest and stomach, and then 21 to the extremities. Which again, you know, obviously a difference there, but it's just hitting the shots with the Cold MP5 at range. It's not impossible. Obviously, it's not impossible, but it's definitely not effective. And the CX-9, I would argue, is like a M13 SMG. I think that's actually a very solid comparison. A CX-9 is a literal M13 as an SMG. Fast fire rate, low recoil, but like the fire rate could overcome you. And like the M13 is a very low recoil weapon, but it still has like the ability to not be controlled properly. It happens to me all the time. I know some of you guys share that, and I think CX-9 is definitely in that same boat. But again, sadly, I can't give you guys like the full just experience from the CX-9's point of view because I haven't fully leveled it up. I feel like the barrel, I have like the max barrel that I want to use. I mean, there is that other barrel that would make it so I wouldn't be able to use a monolithic suppressor, and maybe I would end up using that because I'd be able to use a rear grip with that attachment. But I'm telling you, man, that last rear grip actually makes a huge difference in the performance of the CX-9. I would definitely recommend it to you because, like, it might not be the craziest difference, and you know, I'll admit it's not like, oh, like a significant difference where you have to use it, but I would definitely recommend it. The difference is a little noticeable, and I feel like you would definitely notice the improvement when you put on that last rear grip. At least for me, I did. It turned out to be pretty solid, and I actually enjoyed myself a lot more with that CX-9 class setup. But yeah, man. With that being said, this is the last season 4 comparison. It sucks that I don't know if this comparison might even be relevant after just today, considering the patch notes that could come out. Hoping it is, because I feel like both these weapons, if left unchanged and having other weapons changed, these two could definitely be the faces of the new season. But we're just going to have to wait and see, and especially with the new SMG, which again, we're just going to have to wait and see. And yeah, I guess this is the end of the video. Thanks you guys for watching, and let me know what you guys think about both these weapons, and could they potentially be the faces of Season 5. And yeah, man. Hopefully this season is a W. I'm out. Peace.